Good morning. Welcome once again to our morning devotions. At ang ating patuloy na pag-aaral ay dito pa rin sa Gospel of Matthew, the first gospel and most popular gospel amongst the synoptics and the Gospel of John. Chapter number 2 na po tayo at last time nga ay nag-focus tayo sa katanungan, where is he that is born King of the Jews? And if that question would be probing to us or would be asked, how are we going to be responding? And po, so most of us would respond, most people would respond, those that are skeptics and atheists that doesn't believe that Jesus Christ was the Messiah, so they would be responding negatively to this question, just as some of the characters that we have seen in this gospel in this chapter number 2. And as we have said, the writer of this gospel has proven very obviously that he was emphasizing that Jesus Christ was indeed the Messiah. He has given he stated the genealogy, proving that Jesus Christ came into this world, the God man, and he has a genealogy stating that he was the son of David, has an earthly parents, both of them from the tribe of Judah. You know the prophecy of the Old Testament. And then very obviously the number 14 uh, specifically telling the readers, they would have not missed that indeed Jesus Christ is from the line of David, son of David. And then in chapter number 2 we have seen that the writer emphasized that he was born in Bethlehem, as in the fulfillment of the Old Testament prophecy that he would be born from Bethlehem Ephratah, the agricultural piece of land of Bethlehem, where the Passover lamb are being reared and being raised, so that they would be the Passover lamb that would be sacrificed on the day of Passover. So, chapter number 2. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men. So, if they are really indeed wise men, so they would have not asked that question with that probing question, where is he that is born King of the Jews, to the existing king during that time, who is Herod. Ano po? So, these are magi's, and some would say that they are the Nabateans, but I believe that they are the Medes and the Medes and Persians that that had been taught when Daniel was in Babylon. So we look on the different reactions of the characters here on how they would have responded, and if that question is also posed before us, how are we going to be responding to that question also? In verse number 2, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. So probably Daniel has taught these magi's. These are prominent people, and they travel in caravans, so that they are not only numbering in three, but they are traveling. They have a large number of them, and in caravans. Ano po? So, tinanong nila itong tanong na ito sa existing na hari na si Herod. So how would he be responding to that question? I am the king. My sons should be the next king. But these magi's are asking that question. Where is he that is born King of the Jews? Wherein Herod is the king of the Jews during that time. When Herod the king had heard these things, of course, was he responding? Was he frightened with this question? Because uh, there is a someone that is born that I do not know, that would be king of the Jews, wherein I am king of the Jews. This is threatening my position, ano po, my lofty position, which he through politics he bought in through the Roman emperors that he lobbied, and through politics he got that position. Though he was not a Jew, he was an Edomian. Basically, he was from Edomites. So when Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled. He was being threatened. He was uh, the threat is there of his position. My son should be taking over my position, and why there is someone that I do not know that is born king of the Jews. Ano po? So when Herod had heard these things, he was troubled, and all, of course, when Herod is troubled, all Jerusalem would be also be troubled. So that would be the domino effect. Ano po? So when Herod is troubled, the whole of Jerusalem is also troubled. And when he had gathered all the chief priests, and the chief priests during that time, John the Baptist has a rightful claim to becoming the chief priest or the high priest, ano po, because he was from the Sadokian line, ano po, of family of priest. He was very popular aside from he was killed not because hindi lamang dahil doon sa istorya doon sa New Testament, ngunit pinatay siya. At the backstory ay kasi nga siya yung next high priest, siya yung huling line from the Sadokian line of high priestly line. So the evil shepherds of Israel would have eliminated him so that there would be no rightful claim to the high priest. Ano po? So, at nung panahon na yun nga, yung high priest, si Caiaphas and Annas, they just bought their way into becoming a high priest, though they do not have a rightful lineage and claim for that position. So, yung mga high priest ng panahon na ito ay binibili na lang nila through politics and lobbying to the Roman emperors. So, highest bidding po yun. No? Highest bidder get the position. So, these are the high priest and scribes. So, who are the scribes? Some would interpret the scribe as those, yun nga, yung mga lawyers, ano po, they are the ones who led synagogue. So, sa yung synagogue worship, yung background nga po noon after the destruction of the Solomon temple, uh, they were expelled out of Jerusalem, of Israel, out of the land. So, nag-sprang up yung synagogue worship. At dati, temple-centric worship sila. But this time, because they were no temple, they went into the Torah centric worship. So, the birth of the synagogues, no? Yung may 10 nga lang na elderly men. Yung background din nun ay sa Passover, no? At least 10 people would gather around and take the Passover. So, yung synagogue worship, may 10 elderly men lamang, patriarchs of the family. They could establish their own group through maybe they have pare-pareho sila ng trabaho, pare-pareho sila ng background, o pare-pareho ng pinanggalingan, so they could establish their own synagogue. So mga scribes ang nandoon, nangunguna, some the Pharisees and scribes. So they are the ones who transcripts or to transcribe the scrolls, ano po. So sila yung they are copyists also, itong mga scribes. And then they led synagogue worship. So Herod the king was asked with this question, and how he responded. At first we see that he was frightened. Ano po, he was troubled because of his position, of his lofty position. I must pass this position to my sons, and yet there is someone that is born king of the Jews. That I do not know. Ano po? So this wise men, so kung sila yung wise men nga, sabi, they could have not been that wise because they asked that question. Tinanong nila yung tanong na yun sa hari ng mga Hudyo, di ba? So we might say they are not that wise. Ano po? But they are not wise men, they are magi's, mga kapatid. Ano po? So when Herod, upon learning that question, he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together. He demanded of them that where Christ should be born, Christos, in the Greek, Mashiach, ano po, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. Christ is not the surname, but sabi nga natin, Christ means the anointed one, the Messiah. Ano po, so he demanded of them where Christ should be born, that king, that prophesied king. The Magi saw the star, no, referring to the book of Numbers, the star of Jacob. The scepter would not depart from the line of from the family of Jacob. Ano po, so they may be referring to that as Daniel taught these Magi. And they said unto him, to Herod, the scribes and the high priest, chief priest, they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou Bethlehem in the land of Judah art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor. So governor should be aptly translated as king, because they would not use that word king because emperors or king, because they would be offending the Roman uh, emperor. So uh, from the Hebrew words, the Septuagint, the 70 scholars translated the Hebrew Bible into Greek. That's why they have the LXX or Septuagint. Ano po? They said in Bethlehem, Judah, for thus it is written by the prophet. Thou Bethlehem, the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes. Verse 6, shall come a governor, shall rule my people, Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. So notice here, we focus on at first on the, we also notice the reaction of the chief priests and the scribes. They are apathetic upon learning that these magi is traveling from the east that far, going to Jerusalem, because they were longing and expecting that coming king. But today's devotion is we focus on the on the way Herod responded with this question: where is he that is born King of the Jews? I am the king. My sons should be next to me, but there is someone that is born King of the Jews. How come? I do not know. Po, my son should be the next king of the Jews. But this question by the Magi is thought provoking. And Herod responded uh, negatively with this probing question. And we know the result. All Jerusalem was troubled with him, and uh, 2 years old uh, down were killed. Remembering the story, we remember the story of the birth of Moses. The greater Moses is born, the king of the Jews is here, he is born, and the Magi spending their way, expending themselves, braving this travel just to meet the king that is born, the Messiah. So, let us reflect. Ano po, yun po yung ating pagtuunan sa umagang ito, sa ating morning devotion, yung reflection nga po natin. Where is he that is born King of the Jews? Is Jesus Christ King of our lives? Some people, because they sit on the throne of their life, thinking that God created them, some people would think na sila yung nilikha ng Diyos para sa kanilang sarili. Na sila yung nakaupo sa trono ng kanilang buhay, at kung anong gusto nilang gawin, yung kanilang gagawin. That's why, that is the mindset, or yun yung lifestyle ni Herod eh. Po, I am in this lofty position, and this power corrupted him, and yet there's someone that is born King of the Jews, taking over the realm, taking over the leadership, taking over this position. And he responded negatively. He was affrighted, he was troubled, and with such cruelty, he responded with this question. He killed all the babies 2 years under just to eliminate that king that is born, as said by the Magi's. So the probing question for us, our reflection this morning is this: are we the ones sitting on the throne of our lives? And if someone has said there is someone born King of the Jews, there's a king, how are we going to respond? Are we going to respond just like Herod, just like these religious leaders of Israel, evil shepherds, they were apathetic? Or are we going to respond just as the Magi's, expecting and longing, spending their own way, waiting for that king, and they waste no time traveling that far to welcome and to anoint this king that is born that day. Sino po ang naghahari sa ating buhay? Sino nakaupo sa trono ng ating buhay? Walang iba kundi ang ating Panginoon. Kung siya ay nire-recognize natin na Diyos tagapagligtas ng ating buhay, nawa sa buong buhay natin, siya dapat ang masusunod. Tayo dapat kanyang alipin. At kung anong kagustuhan ng ating Diyos, yun ang ating gagawin. Marami pong salamat. Nawa ang Diyos ang maghari sa ating buhay at siya maghari sa mundong ito. Marami pong salamat. Pagpalain tayo sa buong maghapon na ito ng Huwebes, June 9, 2022. God bless. Marami pong salamat.